Man, these guys have wasted absolutely no time getting down on this car. So much like our other builds, we actually have a time schedule that we're trying to keep with it. We're going to spend about 3 weeks back here in the metal shop, and we just closed out week 1. So let's take a look at the work that's been done so far. All right, so we're inside the car. Our factory stock fender wells ended probably somewhere right around here, and that was really limiting us on the size of wheel and tire that we could run in the back. So we're not running a wide body kit, so the only option for us was to go in, and there was sheet metal in the way. So we did what anybody would do. We cut it out. Now, we went with these mini tubs because we're not going to be running a fat dragster style look on this thing. We are going to be doing a full interior, and we wanted to be able to cover all of this with the interior and make it look like it came from the factory this way. So whenever you start cutting these things out and moving things in, you do have to make adjustments in other places. For example, this rear factory seat mount. We had to cut it out and essentially remake it and then put it back in so that we can have a rear seat. These are all the little details that you don't think about, but go into building a car like this. So underneath the car, we went to town with a cutting wheel and the grinder. So we cut out all the factory suspension points, all the things necessary in order to clearance and make the body sit on the frame correctly, and then pretty much anything that was just unnecessary. Then we took the time to go ahead and grind it all down smooth and make it look like it has a clean aesthetic under there. Now, most people aren't going to see this, but we did it because that's the hot rod way. And something that you'll hear us say a lot around Velocity is every detail matters, and whether or not you're going to see it or anyone else is going to see it is not the point. We know that it's there, and we know that it's been done right. So we spent a lot of time getting this thing lined up. The body has come up and down off the frame several times. And we do that to make sure that we've lined everything up correctly, that the mounting points are all set right, and we've got all of our wheels and frames set to where we need them to be, because if you mess this part up, you'll be able to see it later on in the build. Things like how the wheels line up in the center of the fender well, how they line up with the outside of the fender. All of those things are something that you would notice later on in the build. So we spend an exceptional amount of time making sure that we do this correctly. Everything is lined up 100% when it goes, because if it's not, the car is going to look funny and it's not going to drive right. And we can't have that, because we're absolutely going to beat on this thing. All right, so under the hood, we've still got a lot of work left to do, but we've got a pretty good head start here. Since we've moved the suspension from the unibody down to the chassis and frame itself, that's allowed us to cut out the stock suspension mounting points, remove these shock towers. Some of the benefits to removing these are, it gives us the clearance we need to put the Coyote engine in. Now, the original 5-liter was a pushrod motor, which means it had a centrally located camshaft. The Coyote engine out of the modern day Mustangs is a dual overhead cam engine. So that means it has 4 camshafts, 2 on top of either head. By the time you add in stuff like valve train and timing components, that gives the engine a much wider footprint. So technically it would fit in here without removing the shock towers, but you would need Crisco and a shoehorn. Closing up the end of week 3, getting this thing racked up in the metal shop. I don't know if you remember, we had a dent up here in the front. We got that completely taken care of. No Bondo, that's just pure metal work. These guys did an awesome job fixing that. Put a lot of time into this thing, making sure that all the body lines line up, the body gaps and that we have between the fenders, doors, hood, A-pillars, trunk, all of that needs to be consistent lineage all the way around. We got the fenders rolled, got a super fat 335 that we're trying to fit up underneath here. Probably gonna have to do a little more massaging. Once we get the car down and see exactly how that sits, it's pretty tight on the inside, but we'll get that knocked out. As you can see in the back, last time you saw this rear seat bracket, we had it tacked into place, just had some tap screws. That's all been welded and fixed so that we can put the seat back in the back. A lot of work going on. Let's touch up at the front. So the last time you saw it, we were using a mock-up engine in there. The reason why we use a mock-up engine when we're getting placement done is there's no fluid, so it's no mess. You don't have to worry about cracking intake manifold, breaking any of the sensors off like that. But this is the engine that is going to be in it. 5-liter Coyote, and cat's out of the bag, running a Whipple supercharger on it. So we're not going to talk about power goals just yet, but suffice it to say that I don't think I'm going to have a problem turning the tires over on this thing. As a matter of fact, probably going to have a hard time not doing a burnout in it. It's a good problem to have. All right, so we've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours left to go on this thing. But next up, we're going to be taking it over to the body shop and let those guys finish up perfecting the outside of this thing before we throw it into paint. Obviously, we got to slap the headlights in there. We've got a few more adjustments to do, but for the most part, we're pretty much done in the metal shop. These guys have done an amazing job. So make sure you stay tuned, catch up on everything that we've got going on, subscribe, like, leave us a comment, let us know what you want to see. We'll catch you guys later.